Back. So now that we have some kind of product list and we have a small add button so we can start actually adding our new items, right, or products, we're going to have to start using it. So it's not very helpful that I can just type something and hit a debugger. That's not going to help me that much. So we have to kind of start storing this on Firebase. Now how to do that? Well, first of all, let's try and jump into Angular Fire again, because I want to kind of get an overview about how I store stuff on Firebase. And if I scroll down here, you'll notice there's a lot of information. Again, I'm on the root page on Angular Fire 2 right here. And if I scroll down, you'll notice that there's a small area on Cloud Firestore, and there's something about collections. I'll jump into that one. And in the collection, I'll scroll down all the way to the bottom, because there's actually a very simple piece of code on how we add stuff to a collection on Firebase. Firestore, to be more precise. So actually, let's try and do this in our code. Now, of course, we want to do it in our service. That makes sense. So let's try and jump into our service and see how we can actually add a product. So inside the product service right here, what I want to do is add a new function called add product. Add product, there we go. Now I want to pass in actually the product I want to add. And I want it to be of the type product, just to be precise. This is TypeScript, we want to use that type safety, right? Let's just start there. And then I want to kind of just right here say I need to use the Firestore database. This is called DB inside my code, right? So notice dependency injection up here using DB as the Angular Firestore connection. And there I want to kind of just go and create a collection, or can use a collection with the path of products. Now this collection right here again is very simple. Going into your actual database, you'll notice it's just the name we have right here on the collections. Simple stuff. I'll go in here and I'll use products, and then I'll kind of just do an add of that product that I just passed in, right? That's all I have to do, and that's actually enough to kind of execute this code and to store a new product on Firebase. Now I can do more, and we'll dive into that in a second. But let's try and use this. Oh, it needs to be camel casing, so let's put in a capitalized P right there. And I'll jump into my product list now and say when I actually do add the product, when I click that button, what I want to do is I want to use the local service called the PS for the product service, right? So I'll use this guy, and there I now have a function called add product, and there I just want to add the product with the current product data. That's all I have to do. Again, let's actually do a small d right here, capitalized D right here, just to make it easier to read. And there we go. Now that should be it to actually add this to Firestore right now. Let's try and see it running. So I'm back in my code right here. Let's jump into the app. I'll add a new guy right here. Let's call it P something something for product. I'll add it, and you'll see it pops up right away. It works perfectly. I'm done, right? That's all I had to do. Now there are a few things that still annoy me with this, and that is, first of all, I really like that I get it up there so easy. And there we go, we have our P12 right here, right? Or 1000 something. So that was very easy to get it up there. But in my code, I always want my services to kind of return some kind of value to explain in the service that I'm done, right? So I would like this to return some kind of observable that just explains I'm done. Let's try and do that. Now again, I'm going to return an observable. It could be a promise right here, that would be fine. And actually, just so you know, a promise is actually already returned from this add function right here. So I could just return that. So if you want to, you can just return a promise with anything inside it. Promise any right here. And it would actually work just fine. You could at least get some kind of notice back that you've now created a product. And then I could go up here to my service, and I could just say .then right here. And then I could just pop up a window right here like we've done like this and say product added. So this is one solution that is possible for you guys if you want to use that. This will be a product ref we're getting back. And there we go. And let's just pop up that window that the product was just added. That's actually how simple it would be. And let's just get rid. I don't have the ID right here. I have it. There we go. I have the ID like this, and I can do add it like this. So again, it's fairly simple to add this small dialog with the then. And let's just try and see this happening. Let's put in another item right here, and let's add it, and boom, you see a dialog pops up. That's all I had to do. I want to go even further, because I kind of want to add this. Instead of having a promise here, I want to return an observable. Now again, that's just because I like observables. They give me more power, and that's why I'm going to convert this into actually being an observable. And that means that I cannot return the actual promise anymore. I'll have to wrap it in the from that we've looked at before, and that's all I have to do now. I'm actually returning an observable inside this containing a promise actually, right? So that's how simple that was to convert it into an observable. And that means, of course, now I can't do it then anymore. Now I'll have to do a subscribe. And again, that's pretty much all I had to do. Now I'm using an observable instead. But I want to go even further, because it still means that I'm just getting back a product reference, but I want to get back the actual product that was just added to my code. So what I'll do is I'll go even further right here and say it's cool that I can return an observable with anything, but I actually want to return an observable with the actual product that I just added. So what I'll do here is I'll go in and I'll pipe my my observable right here. And in the pipe, I'm going to map the data, converting it. And again, I'm doing this now. This is overkill again, I think, in this case, but I'm doing it to show you guys how easy it is to kind of map and convert your data into what you want, right? So what I'll do right here is I'll map the data. I'm going to get back a product reference, which is something Firebase provides. It could be something else depending on your REST API or whatever you're using. I'm using Firebase right now, so I'm getting back a product ref. And what I want to do is actually, I just want to return for now the product, right? So that's all I pretty much had to do. Now I'm converting this, and instead of returning the product reference that I'm getting from Firebase when I've created a product, I'm returning the product that I'm passing in, just the product I'm passing in. Now the final thing that product would need would probably be to have the ID that was just created on Firebase. So I can add that by using the product reference and getting the ID, right? So now what I'm getting back is actually the product that was just created on Firebase. So the product data that I sent to Firebase, it's returned, and then the ID is added from the reference that I got back from Firebase. So now I have a full product that I can actually present or do whatever I want with. So let's try and jump back to the list component. That means that this guy is actually a product now, not a product reference. So let's just put that in there. And that means that now I can actually put more information about the product in here. So I can say product with ID and name. And let's just do a plus right here. Now I know this is overkill, and I know that there are still some things that could go wrong right here. But again, the goal here is to show you guys how simple it actually is to manipulate the data that I'm sending and getting back. So let's try and see this now. So if I add the product now, Smurf 22222, and I do an add, you'll notice that this pops up here with the right ID and everything, but it also pops up here with all the information about the actual product I just added. So again, very simple way to kind of take data in my service, manipulate the data, and then I can use it for whatever I want. So that's it for this lesson. I know that was a kind of overkill to add a product in Firebase, but sometimes you have to do a lot more to manipulate or work with your data than just sending it up and saving it. So that's it for this lesson. See you next time. Have fun.